So today we're going to talk about macros, and I'm going to give you an easy way to calculate the quantity of macros on keto. I have a picture of a plate here, and it's divided in half. On the left side, we have the carbs. On the right side, we have fat and protein. And so the difficulty of really showing you this is that most foods are not a pure fat, carbohydrate, or protein. They're a combination of things. So the way I did this should be pretty simple. So let's start with carbohydrates. You want the majority of carbohydrates to be vegetables, at least 7 cups or servings, okay? Now, how much is that? How could you visualize that? Well, if you know about cups, you could just take a cup or just take a fist full of salad. So you need a minimum of 7 cups. Now, the problem is that quantity is not going to fit on the half of your plate. So I recommend getting an additional bowl to put your salad in. Now, if you're going to do other types of vegetables, not leafy greens, like broccoli, cauliflower, bell pepper, carrots, etc., then the quantity goes down to about 3.5 cups or servings, okay, which is about 3 fistfuls of those dense types of vegetables. And those would definitely fit on half of your plate. 1 cup or serving equals 250 milliliters. Now, if we're going to add berries in there, strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries, and there's other berries as well, you can measure that by just having like a cupped hand full of berries on your plate. All right, now other carbs, well, there's carbs in avocados, there's carbs in hummus, there's some carbs in olives, but those 3 have a combination of carbs and fats. So I put them right in the kind of the center there. And so if you're going to do olives, roughly that would be like a half of a cup. And you can pretty much judge that if you know what a cup looks like. Hummus, same thing, half of a cup. Avocado, we're just talking about a half of an avocado, or a lot of times I'll just do a whole avocado. So roughly between a half to a whole. Now let's shift to the fat and protein. Normally that's combined, and I recommend that you try to consume the fattiest protein that you can consume. So don't cut off the fat, don't take off the skin, leave that on. Try to consume like fish, for example, that has more fat, like salmon would be the ideal situation. So if you're going to do meat or fish, the size of that quantity, if you're male, should be the size of the palm. If you're male, you would do 1 to 2 of those. Okay, if you're female, you would do 1. So that's the size of how much your meat or fish should be. Now realize this is a generalization. So if you're a large young person with a fast metabolism, maybe it's a little bit more. Okay, so you really have to judge and figure out what's right for you. Okay, so that would be your protein. Or let's say you get your protein from eggs. That would be between 2 and 4 eggs for that meal. Now, when we get to nuts, nut is a combination between a small amount of carb, some is a little bit more than others, and protein and fat. Now, a lot of times I'll actually add nuts to the meat or the eggs to give me a little bit more fat. And so that would be like a cupped handful of nuts. I like to do pecans. Sometimes I do walnuts. Now let's talk about the quantity of cheese. That would be roughly about the size of 2 of your thumbs. Now, of course, my thumb is huge, so of course that would be a lot of cheese. All right, and then peanut butter would be also the size of 2 of your thumbs. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. A lot of times I like to do celery with peanut butter after a meal, just because I'm trying to get more fat. Now, as far as butter goes, now I don't recommend adding a bunch of butter to just eat with your meal, but let's say you're putting it over your vegetables or you're cooking with it. I really don't want you to measure it at this point, but if you wanted to measure it, let's say 2 tablespoons of butter. And then we have olive oil, which you can put over your salad or even cook with it. And I prefer you not to measure that one because you want to consume a good amount of olive oil, and make sure your olive oil is extra virgin and it's the real olive oil with not extra things. So also want to make sure it's authentic. It's the extra virgin olive oil. It's not the fake olive oil. Coconut oil, the same thing. Don't worry about measuring it. Just put some in the pan and cook with it. Now, if you're doing MCT oil, that could be between 1 and 2 tablespoons. So I just wanted to create this video to give a rough idea of your macros and what they might look like.
Hey, before you go real quick, I have a course entitled How to Bulletproof Your Immune System. It's a free course. I want you to take it. And here's why. Here's you. Here is your environment. Everyone is focused on this over here, avoiding your environment. But what about here? What about strengthening your immune system? That's what's missing. This course will show you how to bulletproof yourself, and so you can tolerate and resist your environment much better by strengthening your own immune system. I put a link down in the description right down below. Check it out and get signed up today.